let's talk about hydrangeas, which are all around me here. Hydrangeas bloom in June, and then some go on into July and August. But they're the kind of the signal of the end of spring and the beginning of summer. And they come in some really vibrant colors, so they're a very popular landscape plant. They're a woody ornamental, which means they're a shrub. They're deciduous, which means they drop their leaves in the wintertime. Okay. So these are the mopheads, which are the more traditional type. They've got the big clusters of blooms up on top. They start blooming in mid to late June, depending on the weather. And then they go on into summer, into maybe the end of July before they stop. Sometimes even further. There is a new development in the mophead types. This one is called endless summer hydrangea because it goes all the way through the summer, blooming periodically throughout the summer. It's great because it gives you color all the way through. The blooms, however, are a little bit smaller. So to get great big blooms, we've got a variety here called Nantucket Blue, which is also a repeat bloomer. It's not quite as floriferous as endless summer, but the blooms are a lot bigger, and it does cycle back into bloom several times during the summer. That's a great little hydrangea. This is one called Blushing Bride, which is related to endless summer. It's in the same series, but this one's white, and then as it ages, it starts to turn pink. And then here's one, a two-tone hydrangea called Buttons and Bows, which has pink with a little white edge on the mop head. Now, one thing some people like to do with hydrangeas is play with the flower color, which you can do by adjusting the soil acidity. Here in Northwest Arkansas, our soil is slightly acidic, and so all of the azaleas tend to just stay in the color range that you bought them with. But you can change the bloom color with soil pH. You do it by, this is aluminum sulfate. If you add this, you can make a blue hydrangea more blue, or you can turn a pink hydrangea blue by making a more acidic soil condition. To change a blue hydrangea to pink, you would make it more basic, and you would do that by adding lime. So these are lace cap hydrangeas. They're called lace cap because of the bloom. It looks like lace. They've actually got two different types of blooms here. The smaller blooms in the middle are the actual blooms that carry pollen, and then the outside set of blooms is not a real bloom, but it's just to attract insects to the big bloom, to get them to carry the pollen away. But lace caps are really pretty. They're very similar in size to the mophead type hydrangeas, about 4 to 6 feet, just kind of depending on how you prune them. And then the blooms set up on top of the plant in June and July. So around me now are the paniculata type hydrangeas, which have the stacked bloom, panicle bloom. These are a little bit bigger in most cases. They'll get 6 to 8 feet tall, although you can keep them a little bit smaller with some pruning. But really pretty hydrangeas. And they also bloom longer than the mophead or lace cap types. They bloom all the way through summer. And there's a myriad of different ones. This one's called Pinky Winky here, that's just about to open up. This one is a smaller version. This one's new this year, called Bobo, which was on the Better Homes and Gardens top 10 new plants for 2013. As you can see, really floriferous, just tons of color out throughout the whole summer. This one's called Little Lime. So instead of being white all summer, it's got a lime color that then, as they age, will fade to a white, but you'll get both colors on the same plant. And then last year's new introduction was this Vanilla Strawberry, which starts white like this, and then as they stay on the plant all the way through summer, they will fade to a pink and then turn red after that. So another type of hydrangea is this Hydrangea quercifolia, which is oak leaf hydrangea. There is a big version of this and a smaller version. The bigs will get 8 to 10 feet tall, and the smalls will be 4 to 5 feet tall. They also have a panicle stacked bloom like this up on top of the plant. These oak leaves can take more shade, or do better in deep shade than a regular hydrangea, and will burn a little if they get out in full sun. But oak leaves are a great kind of native looking plant to use, and they'll really brighten up a dark corner of the garden. And finally are the arborescens type hydrangeas, which are behind me here. This one is Annabelle, which is kind of the most common one. They make these giant tufts of blooms on top of the plant, and those will sit there all the way through summer. They stay white most of the summer, and then as fall comes, they'll start to fade to a brown, but it's a pretty brown. It's not an end of season brown. A lot of people will grow these and cut them and bring them inside and use them as cut flowers. And there's an improved variety that we sell called Incredible, which, as you can see from that one, has a huge bloom. And now there are even these Bella Annas, which have some pink in the bloom as well. So these are pretty big plants. They'll get 5 to 6 feet or even more sometimes. But the bloom is a big payoff. So these tags all say that hydrangeas are from parts sun to full sun. But that's a misnomer. Here in Northwest Arkansas, where we have these hot summers, hydrangeas need to be in part sun. Some of them, like the oak leaves, can go into pretty deep shade, but for the most part, they would do best on the east side of your house where they're getting morning sun and then they're shaded off in the afternoon. That afternoon burning sun can really make a hydrangea wilt. Now, it may not kill the plant, but every day you'll be wilted and you'll be running out there with a hose to try to water it and get it back up right again. So to do best with a hydrangea, try to put it in the east or maybe even the north side of your house. Hydrangeas need quite a bit of water to get established, but once you get them established and they're in the landscape, there's not a whole lot of extra water required. So whatever type you choose in hydrangeas, whether it's mophead, lacecap, arborescens, oak leaf, or the panicle types, hydrangeas are a really good addition to any landscape because they produce so many blooms and they produce them throughout the summer, which is a time when not a lot of other things are in bloom. So I would definitely give hydrangeas a try. They're definitely worth it. For more information on all these, you can visit our website at westwoodgardens.com.